Well, good evening, folks. It's been a little bit of time since the last time we had one of these. I was waiting until at least we had 1,000 people and we had an audience. We don't usually do this on a Friday night, but tonight I have to because tomorrow I won't be able to do Saturday morning shotgun. Wife wants to do something early on, so that prevents me from obviously doing the normal. So we're going to spend a little bit of time. It'll probably be about an hour long tonight. Definitely locked at an hour. I have a movie date with my wife, so we will absolutely be done by 9. So I labeled this one and titled it rather, How to Trade the Big Runners Properly. What does that mean? Well, you ever been into a trade and maybe the idea that you first used or implemented to get into the trade was something along the lines of, well, if I can get 15 pips or if I can get 10 handles out of this run, that's what I'm aiming for. And something happens and it's almost like love at first sight. That market, you entered into it, you rub your hand just the right way, flirted at you, and now you're in love, and now you want to marry it, and you want to hold on to it for the entire daily range or beyond that. If it's early in the week, this is something that you now have fallen in love with. It's going to be a weekly hold. And then something happens where you have reached that initial objective that you set out for the trade. It's gone to it, and now we're past it. We're in new territory. And that question comes to mind. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing holding on for this big grand slam home run? Did I make a mistake by not getting out? Should I get out? If I take the trade off here, it's going to run and I'm going to regret it. But what happens if I hold on to it and it reverses and goes beyond where I was aiming for my target and goes below that, maybe even goes even further, and it scares me and gets me out of the trade? And you mismanage it entirely. If you have ever traded with live money, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It happens all the time, no matter who you are, what style trader you are, whether you've traded with my concepts or somebody else's stuff, you will have this event take place in your market trading and the career path that you've chosen. It's something that's going to creep in. And what will happen is sometimes you will hold on to a tiger, but let go of it. And it'll run. It'll run 2, 3, 500 pips or handles. Not really. I mean, you wouldn't have held on to it for several days, but that's how you'll beat yourself up. Man, I had that trade. I just would have held on to it. And the question becomes, how do you as a trader, how do you overcome that and graduate from, say, a 5-handle trader or a 20-handle trader for NASDAQ? And for the folks that ask all the time, if you're trying to do 5 handles for ES, what should it be for NASDAQ? 20. There's your multiplier, okay? But the idea of holding on to a trade for a big runner, number one, let's get one thing straight. That is not greed. That's graduation. You're graduating to another threshold of trading. When I teach you that 5-handle run to start with, all that is something very small, something obtainable, easily obtainable each day. Now, in the beginning, it's going to be next to impossible for you to feel confident or even know what it is you're looking for to get those 5 handles. But after a while doing that over and over and over again, you're going to get bored with it real quick. Now, trading by, well, an envelope statement that says, okay, all trading in successful, consistently profitable trading should be boring. Yes, but you should not be just doing 5-handle trades for in perpetuity. Like you need to eventually grow beyond that. But what happens if your personality prevents that from happening and you just never get beyond that? There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're consistently profitable and you're able to do that, you get your 5 handles, out the door you go live your life for that day. But I'm talking to the folks that know that 5 handles is just that first rung on the ladder that you're going to climb over the long career of consistently profitable. That's the path you're going. That's what you're aiming for. So what it is that you're going to have to endure is figuring out where your target is. Where's your comfort zone? All of you are going to have different thresholds. When I set out to be a trader that traded Forex and tried to trade the one shot, one kill, where I'm trying to get a lion's portion of the weekly range, I settled in with 50 to 75 pips. It was easy for me to get 50 to 75 pips every single week, outlining it, showcasing it, trading it, executing it. Everyone's seeing it. Now people out there doing it. But that's not the entirety of a full weekly range. Right. It became real easy for me to juggle and manage the mentorships that I was running, the video production, the editing, all those things. So your personal life, what you're trying to do, all these things, your personal life and your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your career, at work until you can leave it, all those things plus sleep, they're all going to play tug of war with you. And you have to be realistic. You just can't go for Babe Ruth swinging for the fences, knocking them out the park. Not right away, you can't. But you can get there. And I see folks in my email box, folks that send me messages on TradingView. I see other YouTubers talk about this topic, and I'll give you the recipe that I use and that I teach my students. Okay. And it'll be up to you whether or not you find any value in it. But I have turned traders that were failed traders into consistently profitable traders. I've turned break-even traders to consistently profitable traders. I've taken small little fragmented type of fluctuations for profitability in certain traders and made them able to find big grand slam home runs. Now, every single day is not a grand slam opportunity. But I'm gonna pose a question to you. What happens if you get, say, 40 to 60% of the daily range? Wouldn't that be considered a lion's portion of the daily range? I'm not saying you have to be perfect and get the highest high and the lowest low, but anywhere between the range of 40 to 60% of the daily range, whatever that market you're trading is, would you be content with that? Some of you, because you're probably new, would think, no, I've seen what you've been able to do, ICT. I want to do that. Okay, that's a goal. But I'm talking about going out after you've reached 5 handles consistently. And then you graduate to doing 10 handles consistently. And then you worked in towards maybe doing NASDAQ and you can get your 20 and then 40 handles in that index. At some point, you're going to be bored by it and you're going to want to spread your wings and grow. And that is something that you should not be fearful of. But too many times, individuals, traders like you and I, we will go out there in the early stages and we'll think that we can bite off more than we typically do in the previous endeavors. I'm ready for it. Let's get out there and try to do 10 contracts. I mean, I've never done 10 contracts before in my funded account trading challenges, or I've never done these things before. Let's just do it today. Let's just take a leap of faith and do it. That's a mistake. You have to graduate into it slowly. And that invisible barrier that traders, and I promise I'm going to give you some how-tos in a minute, but I kind of like want to set the stage for this because if you've never been here before, you've never been trading with live funds before, you never felt the tug of war of what happens if I'm wrong? This is really going to take money out of my account. Am I going to be able to sleep tonight? If you've never had that exposure or experience doing it, This is going to sound alien to you. It's not going to have the same impact that it does for individuals that are listening that absolutely have had real risk with real money. So there's this invisible barrier. Okay. You never notice it until you get to that threshold. You're at that precipice where I want to hold for a little bit more, just a little bit more. I want to go for that 50 handle run. I want to go for that 100 pip rally. I want to hold for that 200-point rally or decline because some big event took place and you feel like it's going to rip. Any other time when you're trading your five handles, getting out when you're hitting it and you're content with it, there isn't this invisible barrier out there. But then when you start wanting to do more, where you know if you could be consistent with this just a few times a month, wow, what would that do for your trading? Man, that would really set you apart. Like you'd be top tier. You'd be in this upper echelon of trading. Everybody would look up to you and you'd feel good about yourself. And you would feel like this is really respectable results because you probably aren't really thinking that your five handles consistently every single day is respectable when it is. It absolutely is. So there's a balancing act that has to be maintained in your growth. In the beginning, you're scared shitless. You don't know what you're doing. You're afraid to take a trade. You're afraid to lose. You don't want to be wrong. So you're worrying about all the wrong things in the beginning. But once you work out all that stuff by experience and conditioning yourself with back testing and doing demo trading, and you work your way into a very low threshold of real monetary risk when you decide to get into live fund trading, you start with a very small amount of leverage. And the graduation from that is going to be slow, not fast, slow. And the reason why it must be slow is because you don't know what it feels like to do it. For instance, can you do a full side split right now? At your age, whatever it is, at your level of athleticism, can you just drop right now, go into a side split? I'll be 51. I can do that. I've been doing it since I was 7 years old. Now, some of you might think, well, what the hell does that got to do with trading, Michael? You have to know your limitations are. You're not that flexible yet to be able to go out there and just simply reach into 10, 15 contracts in trading. Now, I'm going to set the analogy for the sake of the rest of the discussion here because a lot of my students are trying to use the funded account route. They don't have a lot of money and they want to go that route because it allows them to do that. And if they make a mistake, all they have to do is reset and it's cheap. Okay. I'm not here to say that's the best way of doing it or the right or wrong way of doing it, but I'm just going to speak in those terms. I watched my son and his attempts to do these things, and the account that he tried to use allowed him up to 15 contracts. And while that is theoretically available to you, should you be doing it? No. Even if you're conditioned in trading for, I don't know, 30% of daily range, you can get that 4 times out of a week. You shouldn't go to that upper echelon of leverage. Just because it's offered to you, don't touch it. Think of it as like a rattlesnake. Now, you might be able to grab that rattlesnake before it bites your ass. You might be able to dodge its fangs and pin it down to the ground, or it might bite your ass and you'll regret reaching for it. So treat that maximum lot size or contract size as a rattlesnake. It's an enticement, but don't touch it. Your job is to, over time, desensitize yourself. Desensitize yourself from the fear of missing out and the fear of failure. The failure of choosing the trade to be in that you're trying to hold on to for a longer run. I'm going to tell you the secret of what causes that and how you overcome it. There's a couple things you have to know about, but once you understand these things, you will know exactly when to take those types of trades. You will not fumble it. You won't second guess it. You'll know this is the thing that I should be doing. This is not the thing I should be doing. The first thing that you have to understand is that you have to have a higher time frame draw on liquidity. That's the thing I'm teaching you in all the the coursework or content that I put on my YouTube channel. And when I'm talking to you in these Twitter spaces, I'm conditioning you to look at that higher time frame draw. Because if you don't consider that, understand this, how are you ever going to trust these intraday fluctuations and think to yourself that I'm going to hold for a 100 handle run? Can a 100 handle run be birthed, manifest itself in a range that has already moved, say, several hundred handles down, and really close in terms of proximity to a higher time frame draw on liquidity? In other words, if we think that it's going to go to a specific price level lower, and it's the last day of the week, does it have the potential to move another 100 handles beyond that target? I mean, sure, it can, but if it's more likely that it's only going to go to where we set our attention to, some fair value gap, some old low where liquidity is, why would you, on that particular day, that particular time of day, expect your trade to somehow rub you the right way, and now you think it's going to be a big runner? So there has to be some frame of reference, which is exactly why I take everybody to a weekly chart. That weekly candlestick, what's it likely to reach for? And if we don't know what it is on the weekend before trading starts, we use Monday to ascertain what that information is. And you work throughout the entirety of the week to see where it is it's reaching for. Now, step one is you have to know what the higher time frame draw is. Where is it reaching for on a higher time frame chart? It doesn't have to be the weekly chart. I just prefer to teach my students to focus there. But if it's not clear, then you must at least, at the very minimum, have some idea on a daily chart. What is it reaching for? This morning, this is June 23rd, 2023, in case you've signed on to another, I'm assuming it's a YouTuber or someone else, because I don't put these Twitter spaces anywhere on my YouTube channel. So a lot of students, they'll record them and put them on their mediums for other people to listen to, and it's fine. I have no problem with that. Today, Friday, June 23rd, 2023, in the morning session, I sent out a tweet showing you the daily charts for both ES and NASDAQ. And I said that I favored the lower fair value gap. The ES had one above and then the lower one. Obviously, we have been focusing on the NASDAQ as the upside leadership index. So if we're looking for shorts, which one would be more likely to deliver to its target? The NASDAQ or ES? ES, because it's not done what? It has not provided a way of keeping up with NASDAQ on the upside. So it's been a laggard. So when it becomes time for a market to sell off or look for discount or raise when it's bearish, which market's going to be easier? See, you're thinking already, well, the one that's gone up more, it has more room to come down. So therefore, that's the one to sell short. No, that's the one that's going to be more reluctant to go down because it's the relative strength leader on the upside. So we want to focus on the index or Forex pair that's the weaker one. So having a higher time frame draw That's that daily fair value gap on ES. And if you look at your daily chart, mark that off in your daily chart, you'll see that we actually did go into that by one tick, but that's still going there. NASDAQ was unable to do that. There was a large opening range gap. Both ES and NASDAQ had that today. We were able to see it trade softer, and you watched me execute. I shared that today. I actually put a trade in both of ES and NASDAQ, and I showed you what I was looking at real time and how I nixed, canceled, closed in profit the ES short because it wasn't showing the willingness to want to reach down like the NASDAQ did. So in the morning session, it offered opportunity to see expansion lower on NASDAQ, even though it failed to get into its daily fair value gap. So when you're looking for trades to hold on to and you want to catch a runner, you have to know what you're trying to reach for. And also, you have to also know where is this market indicating that it's not willing to do so. I showed you that today. I've never showed both markets side by side, real time, showing the executions, managing the positions, and then closing it because of some reason that was showing me in the charts. The NASDAQ was willing to open up. It had better market structure. It was respecting its premium arrays, and ES was it was rangy, and it was wanting to come back too much on its retracements. So if it's becoming a less likely scenario that the market you're in is going to be a runner, don't hold on to the trade just because you want it to become a runner. It's going to be telling you something all the time. It's either going to be a hold or it's probably time to take a large portion of the trade off in the partial and then still weigh it out. If you don't feel confident even after that, meaning you have to take a sizable amount of the trade off. See, you want to hold on for the full position, a full pull. A full pull is entry, whatever that position size is, and then you place your stop, and then it goes to the target you've predetermined, and that's it. You've taken no partials. That's called a full pull. I've seen many traders talk a good game. A lot of pseudo mentors out there, they'll say that bullshit. It doesn't make any sense to take partials, but you don't see them executing shit. You don't see them doing anything, but they got a lot of chatter. I teach you how to take partials because you won't know how to do that initially. Just like you won't know how to hold on to a trade for a large, big, profitable runner. That has to be something that you desensitize yourself by trusting all the factors that you're doing for higher time frame trading. If you're looking at a 3-minute, 2-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute chart, and you're trying to come to the conclusion that you're going to hold for 100 handles, it's going to be very, very difficult to do that without a higher time frame of reference. Like, you have to know what it's potentially reaching for. Because if you don't have that frame of mind when you're in your trading charts, whether you've annotated them or not, you have to at least know what it's likely to do. You can't look at a pivot number. You can't look at a standard deviation that comes from my work. You can't look at a Fibonacci extension and think that that's all there is. Those things are small little cogs, small little components to the larger whole. And if you blend those types of things with something that's on a higher time frame that would be used for the purpose of liquidity or repricing to an inefficiency in price, fair value gap, something to that effect. And those pivots, Fibonacci extensions, those things start to converge around that idea. Then you have a better, narrative to hold on to. There's got to be a storyline that you can trust because you just can't go out there and buy a market, think it's going to go up 100 handles because you want it to. There may be something up there that you can make a case for, but is it one thing that you're making the case around that makes it feasible for you to trust that it might go 100 handles? Because your subconscious is really talking to you if you're uncertain. You're probably really just saying, I really want this to be a big runner because I want to be able to show the world. I want to be able to show my spouse. I just want to look in the mirror and say, I did it. And there isn't really enough evidence behind the idea of it going that far. So in the beginning stages, you have to wrestle through. I did. When you see me out here, I'm trading 100 handles, 80 handles, 70 handles, all these, they're not huge runs, but they're not 5 and 20 handles either. The way I get to that point is what I'm showing you. I take partials off at logical levels. I don't need to take the partials off, but I do it so that way you see by example. Because everybody, when they learn from someone, they talk like the person they learn from. They wear their clothes, the types of things that they do. They pattern themselves. They emulate them. Well, I know that as a mentor, and I have an influence over you as a student. So I'm teaching you by example. I teach by example with a demo, so that way you're not embarrassed to do it. And also, I teach you to take partials because until you see how it works, and then you weigh it against what you've been trying to do and not being consistent with it, it's easier for you to say, you know what, I'm going to let go of what I thought I should be doing. And I see him doing this, so I'm going to try that. And when you take those partials off, which is the secret, that's the secret to holding big ass runners. You're not doing a full pull. Okay. Nobody just walks out there and starts doing that. It takes time conditioning yourself. So if you know that that's where you want to go in your trading, that doesn't mean every day you're getting 100 handles. It doesn't mean that. It just means that when the market is offering it to you on a silver platter, here's what it's likely to do. And I'll get to those details in a second. You'll know when to capitalize on it. But the most important thing is know when not to do it. And as a new trader, you probably are new and you feel like, I need to get out there and do this. And many of you probably forgot about the 5 handles. You haven't even become consistent with that part yet. And you just want to jump to the 30 handles and 50 handle runs, 100 handles, because you're hearing other people who are showing examples of their trades. And now you think, well, why waste my time with these 5 handles? And this is jump into the Grand Slam home runs. That's what every trader does when they come into this business. They jump too quickly and have no idea where they're going to grab onto it. There's nobody out there that's going to catch you if you don't get a grip on what the thing you're jumping up to reach for. You're trying to skip rungs in the ladder. That's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. And when you fall at those heights, many people don't want to get back on the ladder, and they're scared to going through the process of going through it again the right way. They're upset with themselves. Now they're scared. They have fear. That's mental scar tissue. You have to allow doing the right things to reward you. Going back to the analogy of, say you're going to be doing the funded account challenge stuff. Okay. So that's the pathway you chose. Let's assume for a moment you got a $150,000 quote unquote account from a funded account challenge company, whatever they are, whoever they are. And they allow you up to 15 contracts. You have to remember that they have a threshold that you're not supposed to lose this much before they stop you. Your goal should be, I'm never going to be stopped by them. Now, right away, some of you are going to be pissing them on and saying, well, I can't make any money then. Well, you can't make any money if you blow the account either, but you will be spending more money to restart it. So what is it you want to be doing? Do you want to be resetting and paying for that bullshit? Or do you want to do it properly, trade with one fucking contract? One. Just because they say you can do 15, just because you see somebody else, me, anyone else out there trading with more than one contract, doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing, especially if you're new. I took a live account over at TD Ameritrade, which is a shitty ass fucking broker. They put $200,000 in my account one day that I didn't earn. It's all recorded. I went day by day, showing my account statements day by day, the winners and the losers. It's on my YouTube channel. I think the playlist is first year trading results, like expectations, what you should expect. One contract made 100% in 5 weeks. Took 25,000 to 50,000 with a lot of losing trades and a lot of drawdown to be able to show traders in my private mentorship how to get out of that with one contract. Take one contract and make $25,000 a month. Are you fucking making $25,000 right now at your job? The Mickey Mouse shit you're trying to do what you're trading now, over leveraging and all the. How many times have you tried to do the funded account? How many times have you passed? How many times have you passed it and fucking blown it? Once you get there, you're at the dance, but you left your dancing shoes home and you blow it because you're not ready. You are not ready. Just like this stage in your trading, you'll be content in the beginning with 5 handles, 10 handles, 20 handles, and consistent. And then that wild hair gets up your ass like everybody has it happen. It happens to every one of us. And you want to be a big leaguer and you want to go for that big grand slam. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can be a Babe Ruth, but you can't be a Babe Ruth every fucking day. You can't. It's Murphy's Law. You know, you're the human element that you're bringing into this, which is what everybody does. As ICT, I do that too. Sometimes I get out sooner than I want. Sometimes I don't take enough off where I should have. It happens. You overthink it, you try to finesse it. It is what it is. Rules are there to guide you. So the rules for you to be able to do this is start with one contract. When you get funded, I don't give a shit what company it is, who's doing what. I don't give a flying fuck who is doing what. Do not try to emulate anyone. And I'm at the top of the fucking list. Don't try to do that because you don't know where your sweet spot is. What does that mean? You see me doing when I'm doing pyramiding, I'll go in, I'll take 6 contracts as my first initial entry. And then my second partial, pyramiding in a larger position, will be 3 contracts. And then my third will be 1 contract. So what I'm doing is I'm scaling in, but I'm really showing traders how to do 3 entries and not need to be the best one. There isn't just one entry. There's lots of entries. But I'm showing you how to scale into a trade with 10 contracts. That's my comfort zone right now, based on the volatility in the marketplace and how it's been behaving. It's been higher than that, and it's been lower than that, depending upon how fast the market's moving. It doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing. Your comfort level might end up becoming just 3 contracts. And that's nothing to be concerned about or ashamed of. Don't think of it like it's a dick measuring contest. Okay. That's why ladies are better than fucking men when it comes to trading, because they're not out there trying to scale up and say, look, my cock's larger than yours. I'm trading with 30 contracts, bitch. What's up? That's not how it works. Because really, you can pull out that 30 handle, that 30 contract trade. But the whole time, you're shitting bricks. They don't see your face. They don't see your shit and your palms sweating the whole time. You're thinking, man, if this blows up, I'm gonna be so embarrassed. I'm never gonna show this result. This is the trade. I really didn't trade that day. You don't know. Only what people show you. So don't try to emulate anybody. Start with 1 contract and then work up to 2, and then work up to 3. And if you feel uncomfortable, go back down. Not 1 down, go all the way back to 1 and graduate back up again and see if that same thing happens when you go back to the 3 contracts. When you want to start hitting these grand slam home runs, you don't go into it with 1 or 2 contracts, 5 contracts, 8 contracts, 15 contracts. And then now I want to do 15 contracts and try to catch a handle. 100 handles. That doesn't work because it's too big of a leap forward. You haven't conditioned yourself to find out even if that's a realistic leverage for you. You are the trader. You can't emulate and find comfort pressing yourself into the mold and image of somebody else doing it, me or anyone else. So you have to, number one, know where the higher time frame draw on liquidity is. That means there's room for these big runs. It may not be 100 handles you're reaching for. It may be 30, it may be 50. But those only exist in the realm of possibility based on what the market structure is showing right now and what has it done. Is there an impact news driver that's coming out, or are they behind you? You're later in the week, like today. We had a big gap down, an opening range gap that was really, really low. And sometimes it's not reasonable to go short when it's like that. I went short today and I was going for it. And I went into both of them just to show you that you can read it real time. And if it doesn't go down there, I'll see it. And you watched it happen. I took a partial almost at the low end of NASDAQ. And then I took 50% of the remaining portion off before it came back and knocked my stop off. That was still in profit. That's like 70 plus handles on that move. Is that a runner for you? I mean, I got in there pretty high at the opening range high and almost near the low of the morning. And then it creeped back up to about 50% of the opening range gap. I'm sorry, the opening range gap. So you have to look at where we stopped trading yesterday and where we started trading. It's, this morning at 9:30. I'm sorry, where we stopped trading yesterday afternoon in settlement, and then where we opened up at 9:30 today. So that's your opening range gap. Measure that and put their fib 50% on that, and you'll see both ES and NASDAQ went essentially back up to that level, just a little bit more. But in the early sessions, until we got into the lunch hour, it was consolidating sideways, back and forth, back and forth. I watch YouTubers I watch all the time, and you could just hear it in their voice. You could see it in the ones that show their face were very frustrating. And that's normal. But if it doesn't want to go down to those fair value gaps that we outlined on the daily chart that I showed this morning on the tweet, then it will respect that opening range gap and try to work into it. But it's not likely to go that close to the daily fair value gaps after being down so much from the intra-week high and not go all the way up there to fill that opening range gap. That's not likely. So if it's not likely, what is reasonable? Half the gap. NASDAQ and ES went up throughout lunch. And what do I teach you about time of day? Because this is the other things that you have to factor in. When do these characteristics manifest in price? Because everything is by time and price, not price, and then hope it's the right time for it to buy and sell. No, we wait for a specific time of day. After lunch, we know that the algorithm starts its PM session at 1:30 New York local time. Around 1:40 or so, I can't remember the minute marker, but it's about 1:40. We had a high for him in both ES and NASDAQ. NASDAQ was unwilling to make that higher high when it was at approximately 50% of the opening range gap. So there's this divergence there. What did I tell you I favored today? The daily chart fair value gap. That's the draw. So now think for a second. Just think for a second. If you want the lion's portion of the move, that means that the market crept up after failing to run into those fair value gaps on the daily chart in the morning session. I was able to take a big chunk of that move out. Then it went up into the opening range gap, half of it. And at 1:30, the PM session starts its rotation. The market starts reaching for what? That higher time frame draw on liquidity. ES reaches down into it. What time did it get there? 3 o'clock on the dot. NASDAQ didn't do it, didn't try to trade down as low as ES did. Why? because you have to have intermarket relationships in your trading. If you really want to be a grand slam home run trader and you want to hold these big runners, you have to do the research and see which one are you in. Are you in the right one? Are you in the one that's likely to give you the downside? That's when we're bearish, which one is more likely to go lower? The one that's failed to go higher when it's been going up. It's the laggard. And the one that's stronger when it's been going up, when it's time to go down, it's going to be reluctant to go down. So if you're having a higher time frame draw on liquidity, you're balancing out what is this market's doing at the time. And I showed this to you this morning by being in both of them at the same time short. And when there's warning signs that it's not cooperating with you and your trade idea, kill it. I'm not afraid of being wrong. What mentor out there is able to do that? Show you executions and explain to you this is what I was looking for. And it doesn't do exactly what I wanted to do, but guess what? I'm still able to show profitability. That's what you want to start with. You want to be able to do that. That's a stage in your development. But when you watch me or other people do these big runs, you think that it's something that you should be able to do right out of the bat. Right off the bat, just you watch a couple of videos, you listen to them, Jawbone, me, or someone else. You join a subscription-based idea, and you think you're just going to walk out there and do it too. And it's hard. It's very, very hard to do that consistently. I've never met anybody, and I know a lot of people that are traders and have tried trading and have been trading longer than me, and none of these motherfuckers have ever done what you're thinking you're going to be able to do. And I've already said this. If anybody was able to be able to walk out there and do it, it would have been ICT. And I couldn't do that. It took time working through a lot of shit, graduating through, can I trade with 2 contracts? Can I trade with 5 contracts? Can I trade with 25 contracts? Can I trade with 50 contracts? Can I trade 100 contracts? All these things are thresholds that you have to grow into. You have no idea what it feels like to have $3,500 per handle movement. Yeah, 4 ticks, $3,500. Can you just walk out there tomorrow because you mastered the 2022 mentorship playlist? Because you can condense it into 15 fucking videos? Come on. These are unrealistic things. And you're trying to do unrealistic feats. And that's what makes what you think you're learning from me is complicated. No, what you're trying to do with it is the complication. So these big runners, these big runs in the marketplace, they happen over time. So you have to know a higher time frame draw on liquidity. Where's it likely to go? You have to have intermarket relationships understood. If you're going to be an index trader, whether you trade the Dow, which I don't, whether you trade ES or don't and prefer to trade in the NASDAQ because it's faster, because it's thinner. That's why every move in the NASDAQ is much more exaggerated. And that wild ass movement is an enticement. But you might get into index trading because of what I've been teaching or someone else doing it. And then you get into NASDAQ and that shit stings your ass. That doesn't mean quit. This means, okay, go trade ES. You can make a fuckload of money trading ES. You don't need to be in NASDAQ. I just do it because there's pony boys out there that think they understand that market and can do this and do that. And I go out there and I grab by its throat and strangle it in front of everyone. And you see it happening. You watch me execute it and manage it. But you also see me doing more than 20 handles. You also see me doing more than 5 handles. And I'm showing you how to manage and grow in that. I can go out there and do full pulls, enter at the high and get out the lows. I can do that. And I'm going to fucking do it. But you are trying to learn. So how do you graduate through that? You go in and you look for where is it likely to go? And then where in the process of where it's likely to go, where can I take partials off? So that way it rewards me and gives me more courage to hold on. Because if it returns against me and goes for my stop loss that I may have trailed up too quickly, too quick, and too fast, at least I've been paid. And it's soothing to have that experience when you're developing. All of my profitable, consistently, not even listening to me anymore because they're doing their own thing, all of my students that have gotten to that point, They're not doing partials like they first started. They don't need to. They found their model. They know what they're looking for. They know what their setups are looking for. And they're just managing it properly and just letting it go. And they're not trading every day. And they're fucking killing it. See, you think trading is this, but for you, it might be something entirely something else. And that's perfect for you. You might want to hit these grand slam home runs, but you know what? You might find out that you are a perfect 30 handle stop, get out of the trade and be done. Look for your next setup. And that's where you are highly efficient as a trader. You're managing your money properly. You're managing your mental capital properly. And you're not marrying these ideas. You're not going to be enticed to try to do a little bit more because NASDAQ batted its eyes at you and shook its ass at you. You're not trying to take them home to mom. You're just trying to have fun with them. A romp. That's it. There's no shame in it. Get your shit, get your honey, and get the fuck out of Dodge. That's all this is about. There's no shame in that. Okay? There's nothing anti-Christian about going out here and making a lot of fucking money trading. You're not stealing from people. The people you took it from, they knew exactly what was going on. Everybody walks in with their hands out of their pockets with money sticking out, daring everybody take it from me if you can. That's what this business is about. But if you go out here and you're looking around constantly trying to do something that you're not prepared for, you're going to fail. And that little tiny failure is going to have such a huge impact and it's going to derail you. And you'll forget about how you can consistently find 5 handles. You're going to forget that you can find 3 good trades out of the week and know when not to trade on the bad days. And that's good. You're going to beat yourself up because you tried to do something. You're trying to make an Olympic feat out of something that you're not quite ready for, but doesn't mean you're not going to get there. It just means that you're trying to do too much too soon. And many times I've seen people as YouTubers because they have an audience or because they have a bone to pick. They have some kind of superiority complex, okay, or an ego issue or something to that effect. Or they don't like me, something as stupid as that. They go out and they try to do something and they don't do it well, or they blow something that they had on their hands as a winner, or they start their live stream supposedly up and they shit themselves on the live stream. That's what goes on out there. And it's because they're trying to do more than what's necessary. You're in this business to make money. That's it. That's the only reason why you should be here. If you want to have a large audience that loves you and worships you and and watches your YouTube, let that be a secondary thing. Because I promise you, if you stick to the first rule of trying to make money the first and only priority, everybody will fucking flock to you. If you can do it consistently and you're not a dick about it, people will watch you. They will love you. They will absolutely watch what you're doing and have nothing bad to say. Stay in your lane. Don't talk shit about nobody else. Stick to what it is that you're doing. And I promise you, that is exactly that's what people want. If they're there to watch somebody else trade, they want to see you trade. They want to see you trade. They don't want to hear you talk about other people. Just do what it is that you're doing because they like that about you. They like what you're doing. They want to emulate you. They want to do half as much as what you're doing. You're now an influencer. So don't waste that. Don't waste the influence, the opportunity of influencing people with the right things. So you don't go in trying to trade with big positions to try to catch these long runners. You do it with small positions. And over time, you graduate with one more contract or one more lot if it's Forex. And you condition yourself over time. How much time is it going to be? I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to do. But I don't want you thinking that you need to have a timeline on it or a deadline. I got to be able to catch these 100 pip or 100 handle runs by the end of this month. Because if I don't do that, I'm a failure. That's not reasonable. That you think about it. That's not even practical. Every person that sets foot in this industry that has made themselves something of a success. I promise you, if they sat down with you or if they talked openly and was honest about what they did and how they got to where they were, the biggest growths in their understanding and their ability as a trader was when they slowed the fuck down and tried not to do what's beyond necessary. If you can make $25,000 a month with one contract, and that's exactly what I was doing with that TD Ameritrade trade. I was literally talking to one of the young ladies in my mentorship who was struggling. She said, look, I can get in here, I'm using the concepts, I can make money. And then when I try to trade with more position size, I end up losing. But I don't blow the account, I just go right back down to break even. And yes, I scale down, I start back at square one, and I go with one lot because she's a future trader going in at one contract, and I'm trying to build it up. I'm trying to build it up. I get it up, and then I go right back down to break even. And then I rush it, and I go in and I try to get back what I lost, and then I get into deep drawdown, and then I don't know what to do. So I purposely put that account in the drawdown, and I went through the process of going through the entirety of doing it with real money. Not because I was fucking obligated to any of you, but I want this young lady to do well. So she asked me sincerely. That was why I did it. It was just for her. But that one contract making $25,000 in 1 month, well, 5 weeks, but that was correcting drawdown that was put in place to show her day by day, showing her, look, this is what you do. This is what you don't do. This is what happens if you do this. She paid me. So I was obligated to her. I'm not obligated to any of you motherfuckers. Okay? I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but seriously, some of you act like you fucking own me. You don't own me. You don't fucking own me. That's the dichotomy here. You have to understand that I do this because I love doing it and I want to see you succeed. But entitlement mindset, whether you think you should be able to do this faster than you are learning to do it, or that I should do more than I already am, come on, man. That's not realistic either. And there's a lot of personalities that come into this industry. And as a mentor, believe me, anybody that's listening here that's a mentor or a teacher, a guru, a salesman, or a course seller, I guarantee you, you have dozens of people that you wished never, ever came into your fold or ever knew your fucking name because they're just a mental drain. You can't help them. Are you that way in your trading? Because if you are, I promise you, you will never be able to hold on to these big runners because you have a lot of mental baggage. So you have to make sure you clear all that stuff before you even try to do these types of things. If you're trying to measure up to somebody else, if you're trying to be better than the other person's service, if you're trying to create a product that's better than somebody else's, all those things are going to lead you to do things that you're really not equipped to do. And you really just want to be able to chance it to see if you could do it and then sell the idea that you do it all the time. Because as soon as you start doing it once in a while, your audience is going to say, you know what? Why aren't you doing it like you did before? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? That's the way social media is. You're never going to satisfy anyone. So you might as well fucking be satisfying yourself. What is the threshold? As you as a trader, where are you going to be most efficient? And efficient about your time doing it, how much time you're going to put into the charts, graduating into that, holding on to a long, big runner. That big runner, you're fucking years away from getting in with your full position and holding on for these big runners. I'm being honest with you. You are fucking years, 1,000 fucking days minimum. If you started today, counting today, day one, you're at least 1,000 days away. And I'm talking market days, not weekends too. Before you get to that point, now that doesn't mean you can't get in with one contract and get out there next week and take 100 handles down. Yeah, sure, you can do that. That's reasonable. But when you start building up these larger positions, whether it be a funded account challenge or whether it be now you're funded with a company or you're trading with real money, those things are going to be heavyweight factors on your psyche because you're going to be constantly worrying about, did I do this right? You're going to know that you did it too soon. Guaranteed it's going to happen. You're going to feel that. You're going to feel it. And it's going to cloud your mind. You won't even be able to know when the market's telling you, I'm not going to do that. But you want it to be so badly delivered into your hands. You won't see it. You will not see it. And you'll hold on to it too long. And the worst case scenario, which is what you're trying to avoid, will actually happen. It will come back and roll against you. And that nice, big, handsome profit you had that was unrealized and you knew you should have fucking got out, at least with a partial, you didn't do it. So now what are you doing? You're kicking yourself in the ass about that. You're not ready. You're not ready. It doesn't mean you're never going to get there. It just means that you haven't desensitized yourself. You work up into it slowly. Now, partials, and I'll say this in closing, partials are a huge, huge benefit to number one, developing students because it teaches proper money management and proper trade management. And it helps you grow as a trader. It helps you understand risk. It helps you navigate order flow. It teaches you liquidity and how to implement it in your trades. But the thing is, there's no perfect, I don't have it. There's no perfect way of saying, okay, this is how many contracts you should start with. And when you get to your first target, this is how many you take off as a first partial. This is how many contracts. I have straight students from 2016 that were paid membership students. They send me emails and they'll say, hi, ICT. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm really having a hard time. Can you tell me? This is the third time they sent this email over the number of years it's been. Like I somehow forgot. Like I can see their email thread. When they send me an email, it's right there. And they know who they are. And I'm not making fun of you. I'm not saying your names. So don't be embarrassed. But there is no, and I'm telling you openly, there is no recipe that's going to be appropriate for everyone. That's the part that you bring into it. That's your personality. So you start with one contract. That means when you get to a first threshold of profitability for a partial, which if you had more than one contract or one lot on, if it's a Forex position, the way you condition yourself to grow as a trader, when it gets to that first threshold, you close the trade. Wait a minute. Your target's somewhere beyond that. You just told me to get out where the first partial was. Yeah. If you have not found consistency yet, that's what I teach my students to do. And then you do that each time using lower time frame charts because you're going to get lots of setups. That way you can do it a lot over the course of 1 month. If you're trying to do those types of trades with a 4 hour chart, it's going to take a long fucking time. And I ain't got that kind of patience. You might think I have the patience of a saint, but I don't. You don't either when you start messing around with it. So you graduate. And when you get to the point where you can hold on to that first idea with one contract to the first partial, and then you can get two contracts or two lots as a Forex trader, then you take one off at your first partial and then you reach for the next partial. Then you close it there too. And still not get to your target. What is it teaching you? You don't have to be right. What is it teaching you? To pay yourself. What is it teaching you? Hold it for 2 stages of liquidity. Now, when you can trade the 3 contracts, you take one off at one partial, second off at the second partial, and you roll your stop to a point at which you're comfortable if you get stopped out. What is that? It might be break even. Others, it might be $200. It might be some specific dollar amount. Whatever that is, whatever that minimum expectation that if you get knocked out of the trade, you don't care. It's not going to hurt your feelings. You're not going to beat yourself up about it. But can you understand how many people listen to me all around the world? There's lots of you. You're all coming from different walks of life, different income, different careers. Some of you had very stressful lives. Some of you just got out of fucking prison. You think about it. There's different walks of life all around in this community. And I don't have a specific recipe for telling you how much to take off in partials. But in the beginning, it's start with one. When you get to your first target of where a partial would be, you get out. And you keep doing that. And it feels good because then you get to see, does it really go to my target? And then when you journal that, it gives you experience. So now apply that to doing these big runners. That's all you're doing. But see, what you're trying to do is you're skipping over a lot of necessary, well, conditioning. And Patrick, you train with weights. Can you go out there and bench press 500 fucking pounds right now? I bet you $10,000 you can't do it. And that's not that. That's not to demean you. It's just that's the equivalent of when I watch you, I'm seeing you grow. Like I'm literally seeing you transform from what you were a couple years ago, and I didn't watch you then, but I can see the videos and stuff you did back then. You're totally different now. And I asked you to do a video and talk about what it is that you have done to change. And this is what my observation is. And I don't mean anything to be ignorant. I'm just sharing something as an observation. And I'm quite certain a lot of your audience and my audience would agree. These are the characteristics that I see in your trading. I see that you, number one, understand liquidity now that you didn't. When you were trading in 2021 and in the beginnings of 2022, it wasn't there. Now you focus on where the market can likely draw to. That liquidity, that's the secret sauce. You have to have some kind of understanding about where the market's likely to go. Because I don't give a shit what you use. If you don't have that right, you're not making money, period. End of story. So I've seen that transformation in your trading. Sometimes you second guess it, and that's normal because you're still finding yourself. But you have a very simplistic entry model. And that's proving something I've already taught many times over before. The entry is the least important thing. Literally, it's the least important thing. But knowing what's likely to be seen as a target or a draw on liquidity, where the market reaches for, that is where I think you're shining now. You weren't doing those things in the past, as far as I could tell, and I might be incorrect. And you're welcome to correct me in any kind of public response or whatever. But I think that the direction you're going in, if you just slow down in terms of how much you're trying to bite off, like you could be huge on YouTube, like huge, really big. Just slow down what you're trying to accomplish in terms of I got to get to 100-point handle runs. I gotta do that. I gotta do that. That's great as a goal, but graduate into it. Like literally graduate into it. When you have an $8,000 trade running and you're admitting that you're struggling because you want to hold on to these big runs, when it gets $8,000, bro, get the fuck out. Do that every time it gets to $8,000. Well, if it goes to 6,000, get out. Believe me, your fucking audience is not going to say, "What a dumbass! He just made $6,000." That's never going to happen. Just like nobody can complain about a partial not being profitable. But because you're in front of an audience and you're trying to entertain also, you're losing sight of what the fuck you're doing this for, is to make fucking money. And that's a reminder for all of you listening. If you're trading, if you're pushing a button, the result should be you're making money. That's it. Not did I impress the people that watch me? Fuck everybody that watches me. Seriously, I don't give a fuck if you like me. Okay. If I'm pushing a button and I'm taking on risk, the end of that trade, I better fucking make money. I don't care if you like my post. I don't care if you like my management of the trade. I don't give a shit. Because whether you like what I did or whether you didn't like it, if I didn't do something I didn't feel I should have done or didn't do something I should have done, I'm beating my ass up mentally over that. You could never troll me. Any of you could never troll me as hard as I do myself if I know I did something incorrectly. But when you open yourself up to signal services, standing in front of the world saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to trade this, I'm going to trade that. Seriously, you have now literally multiplied the difficulty into a realm that is absolutely fucking insane. Because you're literally inviting everybody else to openly critique you if you're watching and looking at it. And if your disposition is combative, that's me. Patrick, that's you. Vinny, that's you. You're increasing the level of difficulty for you to focus on what it is that you're really doing this for, which is make money. I've watched both of you literally get into fabulous fucking trades, Fabulous. And then later on, that wasn't enough. You weren't content with it. You went and did more. Or you had open profits. You had it right there. And you both have said, I just want to get a little bit more. As soon as you fucking say that, as soon as you feel that fucking impulse, I'm telling you, this is what I did to fix me. That King Kong moment, this is exactly what Larry Williams said. And I know I'm probably going to get a knock on my door. My wife's going to be like, it's 9 o'clock, motherfucker. It's time. I'll wait until that happens. I know I'm pushing it. But Larry Williams said that, if you ever get this impulse when you're in a trade and you whip out the calculator and you're like, I'm going to figure out how many, if I do this, if I hold on to it this much more, and if I hold on to this and I don't take much off of the position, I hold on to everything, I'm going to be able to make this much money. As soon as you start changing your mind about what you think it's likely to do or how far it's going to go beyond what you thought, or for me, if I feel any kind of vibration because of experience, and you both have experience, you've been doing it longer than most of these people out here, yourself. And because you both live stream, you've shown your tell, like you've shown it. And I don't know if you realize it or not, but as soon as you say it out your mouth, I don't know if I should, that's it. Close the fucking trade. You are managing your money. You're managing the risk. You're managing your trade. And guess what you're also doing? You're managing the expectation of your audience properly. That means you are seeing something, your audience is watching you, and then now what are you doing? You're taking the action on saying, okay, I am no longer able to focus on this. It doesn't mean you suck as a trader. It doesn't mean that your concepts blow. It just means that you, as the operator, working in that market environment in front of fucking an audience that's live and watching you, critiquing you, you now have to pull the plug on the trade. And guess what you're doing? You're pulling the fucking trade at the height of the profitability while you're in the trade. You two aren't the only one. I've seen other YouTubers doing this shit. They don't even trade like me. They don't trade like neither one of you. But they have these positions on. And as soon as you see them or hear them, question whether or not that they should hold on to the trade. As soon as you start thinking, and I hope, as soon as you say hope, that's it. The fucking trade's done. Close it. And if it runs to your target, who gives a fuck? You closed at whatever you closed at. 90% of everybody else out there on YouTube are fucking doing their own asses in. They can't find their own fucking way. So because you want to be out there in front of the audience doing that, I'm telling you, somebody that's been doing it longer than both of you motherfuckers, I'm telling you, you both could be absolutely fucking phenomenal. But you are bringing in all the wrong things, whether it be an ego, whether it be competition, thinking you want to expose me as a fraud, or you want to prove that I don't trade with real money, or this, that. I don't think I got more people following me and I'm a demo trader. It doesn't make any sense. All that's secondary bullshit, bro. Like you have an audience. Both of you have an audience. You both can do so much better if you just focus on what the fuck you're doing. And when you get these little vibrations that tell you, what's probably turning, close it. I've been doing it longer, and I would not look at that as weakness. But you probably think it's weakness. Oh, I got another trade. I bailed. Who the fuck is going to sit around and say, you're in thousands of dollars in profit and you collapsed it at the height of the trade, right then and there? It went further, but that's a failure. Nobody would say that. There ain't nobody out here that has common sense is going to look at someone in a position, start to finish, and they have thousands of dollars in equity and they close the trade. No one is ever going to say that's a fuck up. No one's ever going to say that's a failure. No one is ever going to say you did that wrong. And if they did, they're full of shit. But because you're trying to make these monumental Olympic-sized feats, the real sole reason what you're doing it for, you've made this something other than trading. You've made it an action movie. You've made it I don't know, you've lost the plot. And so many of my students and everybody else out there that teaches, I'm sure you have students too, that have done this shit. They lose the plot. You're in this to make money. You grow from a starting point that's rather modest, and you graduate over time, adding a little bit more and a little bit more. And you may discover that you won't become a 100 handle trader, but you can beat the fucking socks off of 30 and 40 handle runs. And you can find them all week long, up, down, sideways, everywhere. But a 100 handle run might not be your thing. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to reach for it, but you can't do it with a 1 minute chart, a 3 minute chart. You have to have a higher time frame perspective. You have to have something beyond the intraday. Well, lay of the land has to be larger than what you're looking at when it's a small little tiny interval. If you don't have that framework, and I've talked about this actually in whatever the last live stream I did, I can't recall at the top of my head what it was, but I showed how I was trading something using the run on the lunchtime liquidity and then running out, to the high of the day and then pyramiding it all the way through that, but also showing you that there was reference points from higher time frame charts that you otherwise would not have seen in the recorded execution, which is, again, I like to have my charts naked. I don't want anything on it, but I have to remember, I have to consciously tell myself when I'm doing these things, make sure I annotate this because I'm going to prevent 1,000 different tweet questions or emails or people not tweeting, I don't know what you would call it, message me from TradingView. You did this, and I can't answer all your emails. I can't answer all your tweets. I can't answer all your, your notifications on TradingView. There's too many of you, and that's the reality. It's not because I think I'm something that's too snooty. I can't do it. It's just too many of you doing it. So I try to do everything I do to try to minimize what it is that is likely to come up as a question or a concern. So I annotate the most salient things. So that way, most of my students have been with me for a while. A lot of them will come in and field, the questions that come to me if it's on Twitter. And if I like your response and if I'm in agreement, I'll reply with like a heart or something like that. So it's kind of like me co-signing it. You're understanding and telling the person that may have that question, you told them correctly. And I didn't need to type that. It's easier for me to just hit that little heart, and there it is. You've done me a favor, and the person asking the question. But when you're getting these big runners, you didn't step into that overnight. You have to graduate over time. You have to graduate, working slowly towards that goal. And again, it may take you a lot longer to get to that. But you know how to get there? The shortest time is when you're stretching the boundaries of your comfort zone, just like lifting weights, Patrick. Just like lifting weights. You can't go out there and bench press 500 pounds right now, but years from now, you could. I fucking wouldn't try to do that. There's no way. I would say too much. But everybody knows what their limitations are. And you have to stretch that boundary. But as soon as you get into these trades, and we have all seen you holding on to thousands of dollars in trades, open, unrealized profit. And your face is on the screen, your mannerisms. If we were playing poker, your tells are right there. And I'm saying, as someone that's observing it, if you pay attention to what it is that you're doing, watch your own videos. Just like a boxer watches those competitions, fights. Watch your own videos. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to your breathing. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm not making fun of you, bro. I'm literally telling you, you are talking to yourself, but the whole world that's watching your live stream, they're seeing it. And some of the folks that you can't see them when you would have your own, the chat window open, sometimes they would tell you, look, close it now. Be content with that right now. Stop it right now. And like you're trying to do something beyond that, where if you just stopped right when you feel that uncomfortable point at the height of your trade, that's when you're doing it. Subconsciously you should be closing that trade. You know it. But what you're really wrestling with, it's not because you're afraid that it's going to go and run in your favor. You're afraid if it does do that, that the audience is going to say, you fucked up. You didn't get that big run. That's really what's going on. That's what's going on. And you're not wanting to close the trade at the height of the trade's profitability when you're feeling that uncomfortable threshold because you haven't been there enough times yet. You're not desensitized. This is all new territory for you. And it's awesome watching it. It's fucking amazing watching it. I love it. I wish more of you would do it. I would watch the shit. I'm telling you, I would. But when you feel that discomfort, that's growing pains. That's you doing that last repetition to failure. Stop. Don't go anymore. You're not going to get any more muscle growth. Stop right there. Then watch and see what happens. Does it run to your objective where you thought it was going to go, or does it turn back on you? And then measure that with your journal. Just say, hey, this is what I did that day. This is how much I got out. This is exactly the moment where I felt uncomfortable. I closed it here. And then record what you took away from that as a positive reinforcement. And then each time you do that, just like weight training, you'll be able to add another 2 pound plate, 5 pound plate, 10 pound plate, one more repetition, one more set, and you'll go beyond and grow. But the things that I love most watching you is that you're finding this stuff out in yourself, but I don't see anybody else giving you like you trolled me. I'm not trolling you. I'm telling you, if you do these types of things, I guarantee you, you will be absolutely phenomenal. You'll grow bigger than me on the YouTube. You will absolutely grow bigger than me. And if you just do the things I'm suggesting, you don't have to credit me. I'm not asking for any of that bullshit. It's not about that. I want to see you do well. I want to see Vinny do well. I want his algo box shit to become popular for people that like that kind of stuff. I don't have anything against anybody else. And these two individuals are highly critical of me. And I'm telling you, if they spent more time doing what it is that they do and stop worrying about all this other drama bullshit, your brands would grow. What makes it stagnant and the things that people talk about you is that you still do the things I did in early on. Drama marketing only works for so long. And then you have to be able to do something beyond that. You both can trade. You both can do it. But you bring in other things and you allow outside influence to fuck with you. I don't. That's why I don't do it. But see, both of you have something that I don't have. You have a willingness to sit out there and do that. You're willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that. Think about it. You have a niche. You have a, a segment of the community that I will not cater to. I will not do that. I can call a move, I can point to a level, and I can record myself doing that very thing, trading to that. Because I'm in a closed environment where I cannot be talked to. I can't be distracted. I can't have someone ask me, why'd you do this? And why'd you do that? Fuck that. I have 1,000 voices in my head constantly telling me, do this, don't do that. I don't need hundreds, thousands more doing it with the chat room. I can't do it. I thought I could when I tried mentorship. I thought for sure I'd be able to do it. And I found out I couldn't do it. And I've been very vocal about it. And some of you that want to go out and learn how to do this skill set because you want to go out on YouTube and do live streaming, I promise you, a large portion of you are going to be like, what the fuck? You're not going to be able to focus. It's not stage fright. Because if you're making yourself available to the people that are watching you, you have a genuine concern to help them. That's what you're there for. You want to entertain them. You also want to prove to the world you can do something. That's great. That's admirable. I got all the respect in the world for anybody that does it. Guy trades by Matt. He gets out there. He's not, hitting 1,000, but he's out there trying to do it. I got respect for that. I'm never going to shit on somebody that's trying to do something because they got bigger balls than I do. I'm not out there doing that. And I know how to do this, but I also know my limitations. I can't manage that distraction. You both can. Matt can. I can't. So I bloom where I'm planted. I can do this in this closed environment where I can't be distracted. Both of you, well, all three of you I mentioned now, you're out there in front of everybody. That takes a great deal of fucking courage and focus. I can't focus like that. Like I literally I can't focus. So I know my limitations. Just like you may go out there, if you're listening to this and you thought for, you know, maybe in recent times or when you first started trading, you want to be a 100 handle run type trader. You may discover you can't. You can't hold on to a position that long because your comfort is not in that. Your patience threshold doesn't support that type of trading. You got to be a hit and run type surgical 5 handle, 10 handle. I'm out. 10 handle, 15 handle, 20 pips if it's a forex trade. You're done. You're completely out of the marketplace. You can relax because you're wound up like a top. You know, you're stressed out constantly. Okay, you can grow out of that, but until you do, you have to be comfortable with what you're doing, right? You got to be comfortable in your own skin. I'm not comfortable being out there taking on trades where if I do something wrong because I'm listening to other people, I can't have a chat window open because my eye's going to go right to that. Think about what you guys bitch about. When someone says something negative or whatever, they're like squirrels to me. I can't help it. I can't fucking help it. I'm wired to just bite. So if I'm out there with a chat window open, I'm going to have 1,000 things come through that chat window. And I'm going to look at that stuff. And the whole time, price is doing what it's doing. And I won't focus there. So because I know that's a character flaw in me, that's a human weakness in me that I wrestle with, I must make no allowance for any outside distractions. Some of you may not have that problem. I do. But if you do have that problem or similar, or it may be different things that you have to wrestle with, you have to figure out what they are and then manage them. You have to do whatever it is to keep those things from influencing your ability to trade, observe price action, and know what it feels like to be in that moment right then and there as a trader. Because if you're not able to pick up on those, well, vibrations that you're getting because of experience, you're getting it from the market. It's telling you what you should be doing. But because of the situation you're in where you have to perform for somebody else that's watching you, or you think someone's going to laugh at you because you didn't do something profitably, you're not doing what it is that you're there to do, which is follow your model, your method, and make money, manage the risk, close the trade and profit, and get the fuck out of Dodge and let the people come back to watch it again. That's the main focus. And you have to keep the main focus in the spotlight. And if you let all this other shit, competition, this guy's better than this one, I can be better than that if I do this and if I do that, just trade. Just stick to what it is that you do and do that. I fucking guarantee you, if you didn't do all these other things and if you listen to your own experience, that little moment where you're doubting, close it. And over time, the more time you do that, you'll see that you'll be more comfortable holding past that. And then over time, how much time? I don't know, but it'll be a fascinating discovery for yourself, and your audiences will see it happening. It'll be recorded in your live streams. You'll have a perfect video journal of what it is that you went through. I guarantee you, watching the video, you'll remember that very moment and you'll think, shit, that's exactly when my asshole was puckering right then and there. And I did the right thing by closing it. Look, it went down and I didn't see it at the time. I kind of felt it could, but I closed the trade. I did the right thing there. And then you can encourage yourself, say, see, I did the right thing in the privacy when nobody's around watching. You can't hear you. And you encourage and you cheerlead yourself. I promise you that you are probably sitting in your house in Florida watching the videos and you're beating yourself up more than you do in your own videos. Stop doing that, because it's channeling that same negativity into your viewership, your audience, and then it makes them do the same thing to themselves. Don't do that. Don't do that. Cheerlead yourself. Say, you know what? I fucking did this shit today this way and it paid out. I'm fucking hammering it. That's right. That's exactly right. And people think that's arrogant. Fuck them. Fuck these people that talk that shit, because they are not making money. So they're fucking miserable. They're miserable. But you're letting those types of people creep in and you're trying to arm wrestle that shit. Oh, I'm going to show the the brokies, the haters, the fucking ICT retards. That's what everybody fucking says about everything. And that kind of stuff is not necessary. People watch YouTubers in trading to watch them trade or teach something. They're not there to listen to some horse shit. And I watch all three of you. I watch all three of you. Not every video, not the entirety of them, but I watch you. And all three of you have characteristics that I like. And if I could sit down with you, I would say, look, do this, do this, do this. But neither one of you would do that because you don't want anybody thinking that I taught you anything. And that's unfortunate because I see potential in all three of you and a lot more of other YouTubers out there. Some guy that trades stocks, I watch him do it all the time. Another dude that trades stock options. They do these same type of things. They let the people in the chat room manage their focus. And when I see that stuff, I'm so much relieved that I came to grips with that real quick. I learned that lesson in 2016 in my first, group and mentorship for just Forex. I thought for sure I was going to be able to do it. And I just couldn't do it. I could not have 800 people ask me questions and feel like I'm going to give them all the attention that they feel like they should get. You can't. No human person can do that. No human being can answer a chat window. Every single person that paid them, they think that they have to have their question answered, and they have every right in expecting that, but not at the single second they asked for it. It's unreasonable. It's unrealistic. And I felt guilty because I couldn't deliver that personable one-on-one experience for them. Like, I'm sure some of you, when you tweet to me and I reply to you and you're like, well, thank you so much for giving me a response, or you make a big deal about like I'm a celebrity. I'm not a fucking celebrity. I'm just a man. That's it. But when you respond that it was an interaction between us both, it's meaningful. Every single one of my paid students want that experience. Every single one of them, because I'm a human being that is like I'm in one location at one time. I can't be everywhere at one time. I'm not omnipresent. Okay, I'm not God. Okay, I'm not Forex Jesus. I'm not index futures, Godhead. I'm not. I'm just a man. That's it. I'm a man, and I try the best I can to be an encouragement to everyone, even the people that don't like me. There is always some kind of redeeming quality in a person, and I look for that. I look for that in everyone. And also, when it's possible, I try to find some way to steer them in the right direction to make themselves better. There are better personalities out there that if they just did similar things, like I'm suggesting here tonight, they would be much more popular than I am right now. I'm a fad. I'm going to fizzle out past November. People will still probably watch my videos, but I'm not going to be the thing. Somebody else is going to come up. And it'll be interesting to watch who that is. I'm not going to be out there fucking kicking sand in their face and saying, "Oh, you're a fucking fraud. Fuck you, pal." I'm going to be back in my old ways of sitting in the sidelines and doing nothing, just watching from a spectator's position, enjoying whatever happens in terms of who comes up next. I don't want to be at the top all the time. Like, I'm uncomfortable being here. Like, I'm being honest, I don't like this. I get nervous. I would be nervous if I looked and seen how many people are listening right now. I don't know. And I would be nervous when I'm live streaming to see how many people, when I close the live stream, I see how many people are there. It makes me nervous because I'm introverted. I may not sound like an introvert because I have the comfort of talking to a phone when there's nobody here. But I wouldn't be this open with all of you if we were in a large group. I was invited, many times over the last 24 months to be speakers, a keynote speaker, and a lot of engagements. Some of them are overseas. And I just don't do those things. I don't feel comfortable in that setting. And I get offers all the time to do like big events, teaching circuits and things. And I just don't want to do that. And because I have got to this point and I don't like it, I feel uncomfortable because I just don't feel comfortable with it. Some of you may do very well in this and become giants and titans in the industry. I don't want to be. I don't want to be that. I want to go back to being what I was. Just simple, Michael. I know what I've been blessed with. I believe by November, I've done exactly what I promised the Lord I would do. If He gave me this, and I've been very upfront with you all, this is what I'm able to teach. This is how far we're going to go. And I will be satisfied in November. And I can lay it down and sleep at night knowing that I've done my part of it. And because it's a video, you can go back and click on it. You can download it, never go back to my YouTube channel or ever contribute to ad revenue if you think that's the problem, or you think that's going to hurt me, or if you want to starve me and my family, like that's going to happen. Whatever. But I just know when I'm done, second week of November, I have done everything I could possibly do to teach and share with the capabilities that I have as a human being, because I'm not the best teacher. I wish I was better. But the things that I teach and the way I do it, I try to be as practical as I can. I try to be as realistic as possible. And it bothers me that I can't reach everybody because I try. I try so hard. I pray to try to reach more of you because I know what it feels like. I was there. I know what it feels like when you know you can do it, but it just seems like it's just outside your reach. Your fingertips are just almost touching it. You can see it. You can almost grab it. You just got to hold on a little bit more time, keep doing what you're doing, and it'll happen. But big runners, it, they come by partials and managing it that way. And then finding your sweet spot. That means how many contracts, how many lots as a Forex trade that you're going to be able to hold. And then you let it go. What's the sweet spot? Look at my trades. Look at my trades. Look how I'm teaching you by example. That's how you get there. Over time, you're going to take less off at your first partial, and you'll leave more on towards the end of the terminus, or where you think the price is going to go. That larger portion, you'll reserve it for that. And then over time, you'll get to the point where you'll know where your first partial would have been in the past, but because you now feel confident about what you're doing, you'll take your first partial at where your second or third partial would be. And it would be a very small one. Just a little token paying homage to how far you've grown as a trader. And when you get to a point where you've mastered your own model, and key point, you've mastered yourself, then you can start doing full pulls. And the only time you take a partial is like today, what you saw me doing in the NASDAQ, where I got that vibration saying, okay, it's going to run back on my stop. Let me just kill half the position, because if I'm wrong about that, at least I have half the position still on after the first partial was taken. Then if it rolls down and hits my objective, then I'm okay with that. I did proper trade management. Either way, I've lessened the load in terms of the risk, and the outcome I'm satisfied with. That's a sweet spot. But you don't know what that is for you. You don't know what that is. All of you listening, you don't know what that is until you discover it on your own. And it takes time. It takes the initiative of going through the process of doing it, exposing yourself to that uncomfortableness of not knowing. Do I hold? Do I close? And the easiest way to get past that growth is say, okay, I've been at this point where I got $6,000 in open profit. I got $4,000 in open profit, and I want to see it go further. But I'm afraid if it rolls back on me, and I'm afraid if I close it, it'll run to my target. So what do? Take half off. Take half off, and be content with whatever happens after that. That's how you do it. That's how you condition yourself to get these big runners. That's how I was able to do it. Nothing happened in the books that I bought. Nothing happened listening to lecturers and people that did this and did that. The things I heard Larry Williams, who took $10,000 and $1.2 million, it wasn't fraud. He did it. All of his discussions didn't help me. It created more puzzles. Just like I'm sure when I'm teaching what I teach, it creates a plethora of new unanswerable questions. But those questions get answered over time. But you're expecting the all to be in your understanding right away. And some of you think that big runners should be something that, because now you can trade, you can find profitability. I need to be able to, no, you don't need that. And you shouldn't talk in terms of I need. I need places so much unnecessary pressure on performance, which by as a default will result in performance anxiety. These are so critical for people to be able to master within themselves. And you don't know what those trigger events are going to be in your trading. You don't know what it is. I can't tell you what they're going to be, but I tell you when they're going to creep in. And I give you coping mechanisms to graduate through it. And journaling is the biggest thing. That's the biggest crutch as a trader. You have to have it, folks. You have to. Nobody's going to cheerlead you when you're going through drawdown. They're not going to do it. They're not sufficiently. So you have to do it yourself. How can you do it to encourage yourself? Go back in your journal and find a period where you were hitting it. Like you were firing on all cylinders. Everything you touched turned to gold. It was fucking phenomenal trading. You were dialed in. Read what you annotated in the charts. See the trades that you've taken, the executions, where you're getting in, where you're getting out at, the profits, all that shit. That's where you want to get a high off of that. You want to toke on that shit, okay? Because you're going to need it when you mess up. When you go through a period of drawdown, or if you go like we had in April, where I knew the market was in some funk. And if I come out here, it would have been not typical ICT. So I practiced what I preach to you. If you don't feel like you're in line with the marketplace, take a step away. I got the fucking RV and went down the road. Are you willing to do that? Chances are you probably aren't. You think it's everyday trading, baby. It's everyday trading. The markets are open every day. It's a casino. That's bullshit. If you're now learning how to trade and you haven't found your model and you haven't gone through the growth of discovering who you are and how the fuck you're going to mess it all up, everyday trading is not something you should be aspiring for. You should not be trying to do that. If you're brand new, you don't know yourself, you don't know a model, if you're not consistent, hell, fuck no. No way. You're guaranteeing failure. You're inviting it and promising it's going to be successful in its endeavor. Trade less, choose quality setups and opportunities and market environments to do that trading while you're learning. And you'll never fear missing anything. You'll be more confident to trade in the environments to get those big runners. The things I share and openly talk about on Twitter, when I point to something, I say, okay, mark this. I'm rarely wrong about that. When I share them, it's because everything that I would trust in myself as who I am and what I codified and created and all this bullshit, I will feel confident that I know if there's ever a time where I know that there's an opportunity that people are going to take the information and put real money behind it, which is not what I'm inviting you to do. But when I know what I have all the things that I have in my repertoire behind me that I feel confident to share it, that's when I do it. Because I know it will be abused. You'll over leverage your shit. And if it's over leveraged and I'm not 100% confident, and you're going to tweet to me and say, oh, I fucking did my own ass in, it didn't work out, and I'm an asshole, you're going to tell me I'm an asshole in your sock puppet account, that's going to grieve me. And even if no one said they lost money and it didn't pan out, it would still grieve me because I know some of you are sitting in quiet silence, regretting head following something I may have inspired. So that's why I don't do it as frequently as you probably would want me to do. But I toss my hat in the ring once in a while just to remind you who I am and keep you encouraged. So hopefully this has been somewhat helpful to you. It probably hasn't scratched the itch for some of you. And for some of you, you probably feel like I wasted your time. And that's fine. Nobody, nobody paid anything to come here. And I'm not holding any hostages. So take what it is I gave tonight as heartfelt encouragement, obviously, advice that I think is beneficial because I went through this stuff. Like I went through it and I had to go through it with a lot of failures. I lost a lot of money in real accounts trying to do it other ways, listening to shit that didn't make sense and didn't work. And I stripped it down to I have to treat it like any other process, slow and methodical. Slow and methodical wins every fucking time, just like a partial pays every time. A partial profit never fails to pay you. A sound approach, it will always yield experience, and that experience will always be profitable. Even if you have a adverse result on a short-term measurable basis, that same adverse reaction or result that you try to do and expected some positive response or outcome, you can use that as a measuring stick because the next time you do it, it probably won't be that bad. It'll be a little bit better, if not at all. So you have to have some expectation going into this industry and trading that you're going to have failures, you're going to have setbacks, you're going to have a prolonged, much more prolonged learning curve that you never expected. Because listening to a mentor, whether it be me or someone else, does not guarantee your success. It does not guarantee it. Nobody can guarantee that. No one can guarantee you're going to get these big runners. But there is a proper way of doing it, and I covered it tonight. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no faster way around it. It's just you have to go through it because every single one of you listening, just like me, I have a lot of mental baggage. I have mental illness that I have to wrestle with every single day, and it's not easy. And maybe you don't have that in your existence in this world. I do. But you have probably something else. Maybe you have a spouse that is just a nagging, non-supportive person. And every time you're looking at these charts, they're going to be over your shoulder. What the fuck are you doing that for? Why are you wasting time? You're wasting your time with this. You've been doing this shit for 3 months. You ain't making any money yet. I'm not saying to be a terrible member of that relationship, but I would suggest if it's like that for you, find a way to do it away from them. And I'm not saying divorce. I'm just saying find your way of doing it where they're not able to put that energy over top of you because it will steal your joy. It will replace your passion and it'll rob you of the opportunity to be able to show them politely that they were fucking wrong. They were fucking wrong. Remember, this is your pursuit. And if you're married, you got to give them the fruits to believe in it. But don't let them choke your fucking roots before you start growing that fruit. Don't give any opportunity for the Satan, the enemy, the fucking thing that comes in, it creeps in and spoils the vine. Don't give any opportunity for that. You have to guard your mind, guard your time, keep the bullshit out of it. It may be toxic people. It may be members in your friendship circle, coworkers, your very spouse. Don't let them do it. It doesn't mean mistreat them or be ignorant to them. Just don't make it available for them to be able to critique it. Put the work in, and when you get there, then you can decide how you reveal it to them. And you'll have fun doing it. Just don't be an arrogant prick about it. Because I did that and it doesn't work well. You don't get friends and you don't really influence people in the right way. And people will care about your opinion, even for things that you don't even know anything about. But it's really fake friendship. It's fake. It's fake adoration because they just want to be able to get something from you or you do something for them. And when you don't do it or they feel like they've hit a wall in your relationship with you, they won't be interested in you. And then you'll be the dick, you'll be the arrogant asshole, and blah, blah, blah. And guess exactly what happened with me. A lot of money, a lot of success, and a lot of be able to do this and be able to do that. It's not the same as being someone that is more genuine, down to earth. You're not out there trying to rub what you have in everybody's face, talking down to people because you have more than they have. And that's all the wrong reasons to be doing this. And some of you young guys, you already know that's what you want to do. And I hope you don't do those things because you might get attention, you might get a following from all that stuff, but you're going to have a whole lot of people that won't have respect for you. They won't have any kind of consideration for what it is that you're doing because they're going to see it for what it is. It's going to be just clout. And you might be successful. You might be able to make a lot of money, but people don't really give a fuck because they can't spend your money. They can't drive your cars. They can't sleep in your houses. They can't sleep. They can't swim in your heated pools. They can't go into your vacation homes. So none of that really matters. And if you're inspired by all that stuff, once you get it, and listen to me, once you have all that stuff, it's like I had much higher expectations before I actually got it. Like I thought I would have this feeling, I would have that experience. It's not like you think it is. It's nice to have it, but once the novelty wears off and everybody that you know sees you have it, that's it. They're not calling you up. Hey, do you still have that sports car in the garages? Do you still go to that place that you have over here? Do you still have this over here? Do you do that? Nobody gives a fuck. But right now, when you don't have it, you think that's what it's like for everybody that has it. It's not. It's not like that. It's just stuff. You need to enjoy being successful for the reasons of being successful and free. Doing it so that way you don't have to work with fucking Carl again. You can leave. You can tell your boss you're fucking fired. Be unemployable. That's the reason why you do this. No other reason. Not for clout, not for people to suck your ass off in public. It's simply to be free of all the bullshit. You want fuck you money. And if you think that's crude, I'm talking in too much blue collar. This is what you get sometimes with me when I'm live. There's no filter. It's not pre-recorded where it's edited out. You shouldn't have your kids listening to me when I'm here anyway. I'm talking to adults. I'm talking where the rubber meets the road. This is the kind of stuff that you would have someone tell you that has gone through it. I've had the good and I've had the bad. And what some of you young guys think that you want, I wanted that stuff too. And once you obtain it, it's not as important. And the things about being present, present in the moment, around your loved ones, around when you're around your friends, think about how many times you're posing. You're trying to be more than you really are. I did that shit all the time as a 20-year-old. All the time. $3,000, $2,000 in my pocket, all the time, knotted up. Any opportunity to pull that fucker out, going in 7-Eleven, grabbing something to drink, the whole fucking wad had to come out. Because I wanted somebody to say, damn, damn. That reminded me, yeah, I've arrived. You know how fucking stupid that was? I would never do that today. I have fucking bat upside my fucking head, be laid the fuck out and rolled right there where I stood. Somebody else would be like, damn, he was stupid as fuck carrying that knot around. It's mine now. But that's the dumb shit people do when you're young. You do dumb shit. And racing to get to these big runners before you're properly equipped mentally and the model and the experience to be able to do that consistently. You don't want to just do it one time and say, yeah, I did it. You want to be able to do it consistently, a couple times a month. That has to take time. And time is what many of you don't want to spend. You'll be in a hurry to get there and blow accounts. Man, I got no time to be learning this shit. You talk too much ICT. Let me get out here and put my money in this account. Let me go buy some accounts and challenges and fucking shit yourself trying it. And say, oh, well, I blew that again. Let me go out and try to make some more money next 2 weeks and buy some more challenges. Which one makes more sense? Because that doesn't sound like it fucking makes sense to me. Sounds like it's a waste of fucking time and money. So you're doing two things incorrectly. You're wasting your time rushing to try to do something you're not equipped to do versus taking your time, slowing the fuck down. Enjoy the process of doing this because it's a career. It's not a hobby. And some of you guys think it's like a scratch off. Like you fucking get into a funded account and like, yeah, I'm gonna get in here and make 5 figures. Like, what happens if you do get lucky and you do it one time? And it was just happenstance that got you there. You're gonna know damn well, which if you listen to these people that are honest, that are funded account representatives, they'll come out and tell they know the people that are going to be getting payouts consistently and the ones that just got lucky. They know. Are you going to be the person that got a payout the first time and know in your heart that it's probably not going to happen again? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to see that in any of you. I want to see you know beyond the shadow of doubt that you're going to be able to take money from these funded accounts and then fund yourself. Oops. Yeah. Don't have all your expected future revenue in a company like these. They may be obtainable right now, but nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed. But if you take the money you earn from that and put it into something that makes you money, something residual income, I'm not suggesting what that might be because there's lots of things you can do. But at the very minimum, you should have at least a real funded account in your name at a real broker, like a real broker, where they can where you can take out all of the fucking money. You can take out 50% and more, and they're not going to say no. They don't have any restrictions. You make $1,000, $10,000 in that one day. Is not as long as you got time to do a domestic wire where you're at. They can send that shit out to you that day. Not you got to be profitable 5 more business days. And yeah, fuck that shit. I get it. They all have rules. Okay, they have a business model they have to adhere to. But at some point, you're going to have to leave that, or at least branch out into doing real brokerage. And I don't represent any brokerage, just like I don't represent any funded account firm. I'm not introducing broker. I don't go there. But you need to be in a reputable. Once you start being profitable, you need to take your money and put it into a real brokerage firm. And the things that you adhere to as far as the rules that got you to that point, just apply that same shit to your funded account, approach. Do that with your real money, but do even more strict adherence to rules. Many of you don't like the idea of hearing that. But listen to the guys that are making big money. ICT student does this and does that. 100,000, 180,000, $500,000. Listen to what they're risking. Less than 1%. Yeah. They listened. They listened to those presentations where everybody said, ICT is talking about 1% risk. Fuck that shit. You can't get rich doing that. Did you make a $500,000 this year? Did you make $180,000 this year? Think. These cats are doing it. They're using what they learned. They're blazing their own trail. I'm not giving them setups. They're finding themselves, and they're not pushing the risk. And they're getting paid out, and they're getting interviewed by the companies that paid them out. Where's the fraud? Where's the fucking fakery in that? They're doing everything on their own, and I have so much respect, and I'm proud of them. I have many students that do more than that are quiet. They don't want any kind of fucking notoriety. And I'm proud of them too. I'm more proud of them because they know why they got into this. And they're staying inside their own lane. They don't give a shit about trying to prove to anybody else. They're not working anymore. You don't need to convince them that they did the right thing. Believe me, they're waking up every day saying, yeah, I did the right thing. And that's what you need to do. You need to be able to be comfortable in your own skin. And growing as a trader, whether it be this idea of trying to catch these big runners, or whether it being just finding consistency, or what asset class to trade, or what model to trade. So there's so many things that you're wrestling with. You may not feel like you are, but you are. All these things are going to be impactful, and they're going to either derail you, prolong your learning curve, or if you figure out what it is that you have to do to grow through it, because some of these things you're going to have to go through these things. There's no way around them. Just like that first losing trade or getting it wrong the first time. You don't want to have that experience. You might as well just do it quickly. Just do it quickly and get it over with. That's why I tell everybody, as soon as you get a live account, flip a quarter, take the first trade based on a whim. Get that loss out of the way. Let the first loss come. That way it's done. The ice is broken. Now it's nothing to fear. It's over. Because you'll sit there in hem and haw, worry about, man, it's my first real trade, man. It's like, you know, what if I have performance anxiety? What if she doesn't really think I measure up? You know, that's the kind of shit that a guy does when they look at this account. They make it sexual. They want to make sure that the market talks about them to their girlfriends tomorrow. No, you're going in there to have a romp. That's it. That's it. You got a stop loss. That's your fucking protection. There's no sexually transmitted disease. It's STD. It's a standard deviation. That's the only thing closest to STD in your trade that's ever going to be there. So don't be worrying about all this shit. You're not taking them home to meet mom. Go in, have a one night stand, a romp. That's it. It's done. Your stop loss is your protection. Your target, that's your orgasm. There it is. Simple as that. Be thankful. Happy ending. Next. It doesn't make you a player. It doesn't make you a dog. It doesn't make you a less than a gentleman. It just means that you are a trader. You're going in there, taking what's yours. That's it. And sometimes you're going to get turned down. It happens, guys. It happens, ladies. You might think that that trade is something that you can take home. And they say, not tonight. And you go home. That's it. You're by yourself. You don't take any profits home. You go in the club, you drop some money, buy some drinks. Nothing happens. You lost. That's drawdown. Get over it. But guess what happens? Guess what happens the next fucking weekend? You got your girl money in your pocket, and you're going out to that same fucking club doing the same fucking thing. That's your model. Well, why are you looking at trading any different? You get out there, you invest some money, you buy some drinks, you want to have a good time, and the market says, not tonight. Thanks for buying me drinks, though. You're going to go back here to the next trading opportunity at the club. It's a process. It's all it is. It's a process. How you think about it, what you make it in your mind as a deterrent or a boundary or a barrier, you're doing it yourself. It's just numbers. The market's going up, or it's going down, or it's going sideways. That's it. That's all that is happening. But you don't realize what you're doing internally that's preventing you to be able to get to these big runners. What you're scaring yourself with, what you're concerning yourself with, what is the distractions that being an impediment to you doing these types of trades. You know how you discover what they are? Journaling them. Journaling. There's nothing wrong about recording your concerns and saying, I noticed today when I was in the market, I was at this point, at this time, the market has done this or that, and I was concerned, not saying I was scared, I was anxious. No, I was concerned about this, whatever it was that was distracting you, whatever it was that you were worrying about, but you're not saying worry or scared. You're saying you were concerned. Concern is something like a doctor. If you have something wrong with you, you want them to have concern, but they're not coming in. They saw your says, fuck, dude, you are not going to believe this. You got fucking, what, 6 days, maybe 5 days at most, man. What the fuck? I hate to be you. Nobody's going to do that as a doctor. You're going to level that guy or you might even smack that woman, which is probably not the best thing to do, but you're going to be scared shitless. You're going to be wanting to throttle them. Like, what the fuck did you just come here and tell me that for? You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that in your journal. You don't want to be scaring the shit out of yourself. When you refer back to it, you want it to be neutral, without emotion. But you know by when you say, I was concerned about this. You are saying a roundabout way that this was a major issue for you, whether it be anxiety or fear inducing, but you're not recording it that way in your journal. Everything else apart from those events has to be sugar coated self fucking love. Yes, it is absolutely verbal masturbation. It's the thing that gets you off when you go back into your journal. You're loving yourself. And there's no reason for you to be ashamed of it. It's not arrogance and pride. It's for you to read. You're not showing it to the world. You're not putting it on the New York's bestseller list. It's just for you to go back and cheerlead yourself when you need it. Because believe me, you're going to fucking need it. And by going through that process, you're completely desensitizing yourself to the outcome. It's irrelevant if the trade wins or doesn't win. You don't care. You've been here before. You've been to this club. Yeah, I went out this many times over the years or this year. I went to this club. I saw this girl several times, bought her drinks, bought her drinks, bought her drinks. I thought for sure after the fifth time I was going to get it. And then no. So what are you going to do? You're not going to go there and do that again, but you're not going to stop going to that club. You're just not going to go to that lady or that guy. You're not going to give them that attention anymore. You're going to do something different because it's not yielding you the result that you were looking for. You're going through the process, just like going through the process of trying to catch these big runners. You go into one contract, graduate to two contracts, and then you take one contract off and you let that last one run. And if it stops you out, who cares? Your stoppage should be in a position where it's not a loss anyway. And you do this over time and you completely desensitize yourself to getting to the point where you can hope for these longer runs. But you can't do it right out the gate. And anybody that tells you you can with their service, their product, or whatever the fuck they're doing is bullshit. Period. They're selling you a fucking pipe dream. I'm telling you, you can do it. I'm telling you, you can do more than what you think you can do right now, but you can't do it real quick. That's all. I'm just being a realist. I'm being practical. I'm trying to talk to you with the right parameters so that way you can set yourself up with realistic expectations and then allow yourself the time to get to these thresholds that you're probably not even aware that you can do. Some of you probably don't think you'll ever be able to do a 100 handle run. Some of you are struggling, can't even find a 5 handle, and you're thinking, dude, I can't even find 5 handles consistently 2 times a week. You're talking about 100 handles. And maybe the way I'm talking to you tonight seems like it's this word salad. It doesn't mean anything to you because it feels like it's unobtainable for you. Well, that's okay. It's for right now. I promise you, when I first started doing this shit, November 5th in 1992 at 9 o'clock on a Thursday evening in my Aunt Barb and Uncle Stan's house, I did not know what I know about trading right now or even knew that it was possible to know what I know. So how the fuck could you right now place any limitations on yourself when you just started? If you've been doing it less than 2 years, you're still fucking new. You're brand new. You have no idea what the fuck's going on yet. And why are you placing all of this weight on your shoulders? Nobody would do that. Nobody that is successful would be able to go back in time in a time machine, tell themselves at 2 years in experience, say, what the fuck? You're not doing enough. You should be doing this by now. Nobody would do that. But some of you think that that's what you should be doing to yourself. And that is toxic thinking. It draws you to, if you do that in anything, whether it be personal relationships, exercise, weight loss, whatever, a hobby, something you're trying to do well at. A perfect example. Uh, my eyes aren't the best anymore. I'm older and I've been looking at screens all my life, light sensitivity, and it's just I have a lot of shit going on. So when I go to the range and I shoot, my eye fatigue is way sooner now than it used to be. And I'm coming, I'm getting to that age where I'm an older guy. So I'm really seeing these changes in my body and my ability to do things I used to be able to do when I was a younger man. It's a little bit unsettling for me. I took it, as, well, I'll be able to do this. Now I'm not able to do it as well. If you tear yourself down and talk about how, oh, fuck, I can't do this anymore. This is miserable. I'm a failure. I'm this, and that, the other thing. What's it going to do for you? That's not going to make you better. And it doesn't make you macho to, say that, oh, you're being a pussy when you talk to yourself. That doesn't make you macho. It doesn't make you more stronger. What it really does is it's beating down your subconscious, and your subconscious is what manifests through your emotions and your psychological response to stress. Yeah. So when you're out there and you're beating your chest and saying, oh, I'm a pussy, I just got to learn how to hold these trades longer, or I don't know why I can't hold these trades anymore, it's just, this that's not, you are literally charging your subconscious with so much underlying anxiety that it will always be there at that time when you feel uncomfortable about doing the very thing that you think you want to do, or say out loud you want to do it, or tell other people, this is my goal. I want to be a 100 handle trader. I want to get these trades and make $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 months. Okay, that's a dream when you say it. It's a goal when you go through a process of working towards it and limiting your focus and keeping bullshit from getting in. That it's not a dream anymore. It's a goal. And it's an accomplishment when you go through that process of taking a dream, turning it into a goal, and putting the work behind it, and filtering out all the bullshit. That's how people get there. But not pressing into that uncomfortable period with a process of being able to weigh out what it is that they have to do modularly, incrementally, holding on for a little bit longer on the next trade. And when you feel uncomfortable, stop it, close the trade. You're getting out in profit. Why? What is the problem? Did you make whatever you're making in that trade yesterday? Probably not. So are you doing, improvement? Yes. Are you profitable? Yes. Are you adding to your bottom line for the month and the week and that day? Yes. Where the fuck is the shortcoming here? But in your mind, you're thinking it's not enough. It's not enough. It's the same thing, ladies, that every man thinks. Every man thinks this before they lay down with you. Yes, we're talking in crude terms right now, but that's the reality. That's the reality. Men always do this to themselves. They always do it. Man, what am I going to be like to her? We lay down together. Am I going to measure up? That's what men do all the time. All the time. And ladies don't do that in their trading. They're not looking at this and thinking, well, am I going to be able to pull this trick off like I did on that last guy I was with? No, you're not doing that. It's money. It means something to you. Men, we think with our dicks. Everything's about measurement. Who can do it longer, last longer, who's longer. That has nothing to do with fucking trading. That has nothing to do with the markets, but that's what you're thinking. And if you're not thinking about it right then and there, you're thinking, when I get this payout, I'm going to be going out to this. I'm going to be trying to get this girl. Yeah. You're trading because you want to get screwed. And you're rushing to get to that because you think that that money is going to make you attractive. It's going to make you more significant. So therefore, the honeys are going to be wanting to warm up to you. And maybe they will. But do you really want one that does that? All the perspective is fucking skewed in this industry with younger men. They don't know what they're doing. They're running around doing stupid shit, rushing to get money for all the wrong reasons. I don't know who needed to hear that, but there it is. But anyway, I tried to close this a little bit ago, and I'm quite certain I'm in the doghouse when I get out of here because it's 10 after 10. I didn't get to knock on the door, so that means I'm in trouble. I am in some serious fucking trouble. So I'll probably have to get some marriage counseling after this one. I knew you was gonna go up there and stay at. You told me it was gonna be. I know. But she knows in November this shit stops, so it doesn't mean I won't hear it. But anyway, I'm gonna close it here. So you've had 2 hours and 10 minutes with me tonight, and I probably wasted some of your time. You know what? You'll be better for it. even if you think it was a waste of time. You heard something tonight that it's going to come up later on when it's needed. And even if you think about it again, think about how it is applicable to you. You never need to come back and say you was right. I don't care about being right. But somebody that's listening needed to hear this tonight. Somebody needed to hear these things. Okay. And maybe if you didn't need to hear it and you've overcome it, maybe it was fun to hear how it used to be for you and how you don't have to feel that way anymore. Or maybe you know somebody that's going through it and you've gone through it and they're in the audience with you right now. Okay. And you're listening to an old guy that's been there before and fumbled my way through it and found my way on the other side of it. It's practical information, but you know, nobody at the time going through it thinks like this. They think there's going to be some easy fix, some 1, 2, 3 operation, or something in the trading charts or something that can fix it for them. It's not. It's between your ears. Everything about trading is between your ears. That 7 pound universe that we call our brain. It's a wonderful organ. God has been so gracious to give us such a supercharged computer. You can do so many processes. We're so fast, infinitely faster than anything we can create. I don't give a fuck who says otherwise. We have a personality, we have a spirit, we have a part of us that we bring into trading. And all of those things are going to have a major impact and they can be positive. But unfortunately, in the beginning, most of it's the negative. You're coming in here with needs. I need to make more money. I need to be able to pay my bills. I need to be able to be more profitable so that way I can live in a better house. So that way I can have a better relationship because I don't live well enough to get the type of lady or male friend that I would like to have. I'm doing this because I'm lonely. I don't need to be with somebody else right now because you're hurting. And this is going to be compensation for that. It's not. You're still going to be lonely. Lots of money doesn't make you not lonely anymore. In fact, I could imagine that would be worse, having lots of money and still being lonely. So money doesn't fix that. Being successful as a trader doesn't fix those things. They're outside external things that you have to work out outside of trading. Don't come into trading with trading and profitability fixing them things because it doesn't. It doesn't fix an abusive relationship. It won't make you able to deal with it better. If you're in a toxic relationship, get the fuck out of it. Simple. Hard, but simple. You don't feel appreciated with who you're with right now. You can't do it. You can't leave them. You got to be codependent. That's your circumstance. I get it. Do what you have to do to improve and build yourself up and make it available for you to be able to leave on your own terms and not need them. And maybe, they could see the errors of their ways and maybe you could be forgiving to them and get back. And when you can show them that you don't need to be codependent with them and they'll be more appreciative or she'll be more appreciative of you and maybe have that same toxic level again or break free of it and then live with someone that really respects you. And that way you can have a very fruitful life. Really just living. Some of you right now think that you might be living, you just need more money. That might be true. And a terrible thing might happen where you start making a lot of money and your comfortable, successful personal life is made toxic because of the money. You don't know what your spouse or your friend that you're in with in terms of relationship is going to feel when you start making lots of money. It might become a point of division. These are all things that you don't even know yet. And I'm not trying to create anxiety for you, but what you think you're getting into this for and how it's going to be, you don't know. Like you don't know. So you have to keep all those things in the back seat. Just keep driving forward. Keep your eyes on the windshield, not the rearview mirror. The bigger perspective of the windshield. You got to monitor where you're going. Keep the hazards in front of you identified so that way you can navigate. And the things behind you, that rear view mirror, that's the reason why it's so small, because they're insignificant. You've already experienced that. You don't have to relive those experiences. You don't have to go down that road anymore Once you cross this bridge of going through the processes of finding out who you are and how you're going to fuck yourself up in trading, that's the most important thing. It's not how to get into a trade. It's not what time frame to trade. It's not what ICT model or what program to follow or what mentor to follow. It's how you going to mess yourself up. How is it that you're going to do it? Because all of us do it. There has never been a trader that walked out into this industry and didn't bring some kind of baggage or bullshit that caused them some kind of blown account, failure, struggling point. Everybody, we're all human. We all bring that stuff into this. And you don't know what it's going to be for you. Some of you probably do, but you're going to discover it's more shit than just that. If you're unorganized, impulsive, you're going to know about it because that's how your trading is going to be. I don't journal because you're disorganized. I don't know when to take a trade. I'm impatient. That means you're not following a rule-based idea. I tell you when to focus on the trades. It's inside of a 60-minute window. It's an obvious formation in price, reaching for a pool of liquidity above or below. What are you wrestling with still? What time frame? You start with the 5-minute. If you can't see it on the 5-minute, drop down to the 4. You can't see it on the 4-minute, drop down to the 3. You can't see it on the 3-minute, drop down to a 2, then 1. And if you have access to a seconds chart, drop down to a 30-second. But anything less than that, I wouldn't touch it. You don't have the experience for it. Or if you can't see it on a 1-minute, don't do anything. Wait for the next session. But ICT, but shit, you're already showing that you can't follow rules. There's your problem. You want every session, every day trading. I'm not promising you that. Not in the beginning, I can't, because I know that you're not going to have the experience. Man, somebody needs to hear this shit tonight. I can't get off this live session. I'm already in this, the doghouse out of my soul. Earn more of it, right? Nah, I've covered everything I want to cover tonight. So hopefully you got something out of this tonight. If you did, let me know on Twitter. Give me a heads up. Say thanks. Or if it was bullshit, just say it's bullshit. I'll mute you. I promise I won't block you. I'll mute you though. I ain't got time for the toxicity. But if it was helpful to you, I appreciate it. Just let me know. And until I talk to you next time, enjoy your weekend. Be safe.